Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Thursdays with Tracy. I'm Tracy. Obviously, we're going to get started. I want to get a couple of bills out of the way. But first, I want to welcome Susan is in the house today. Hello, Susan. How are you? I hope you're doing great. And now we have Thea's back. So I got a bunch of bills to pay. So we're going to get them all out the way. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. The scavenger hunt is going to take place September the 3rd. The cost is $6. There is the link, but I'm going to give you a shortcut here in a second. We're also having a symposium workshop called Beating the Duopoly. That's on the 24th. That's going to be a great event. So get your tickets now. Of course, you could always help our dreams come true in terms of making our 2 documentaries that are coming up. And you could go to all these links by going to tracymediallc.com. Support Anna at her website. Support Marlon on his Patreon. You can see it. There's Anna, so I can leave it up just a little bit longer. Marlon, so I can leave it a little bit longer. And Thea, so I can leave his a little bit longer. I told you all I had some bills to pay here, so I had to get them all done. And remember to like this page. And please like it, because my likes are, again, very low. This is going to be sort of a long discussion show. Because I have a whole lot of questions about, and I got to stop calling it a trial because it's not a trial, it's a hearing. It's a hearing, not a trial. A hearing, not a trial. But I have some questions. Then we're going to talk about what happens to, and I hope I'm getting his name right, Kinzinger? Kinzinger. Yeah, Kinzinger and Cheney. Yeah. Then we're going to talk about the guy in Missouri. And then we're going to wish Herschel Walker a happy Father's Day. Those are the topics. And of course, since Marlon isn't here, we probably won't get distracted and go off on another topic.
Yeah, I think he's on his way, though.
Oh, boy. That's going to be one of our topics of discussion. I don't know how you knew that, but...
And replace it with what?
That's what we're going to talk about. See, that's why you got to get your ticket. That's why you have to get your ticket. But I want to talk about a couple of things in this hearing, which I have not gotten around to watching because this hearing today, I was at work. So I can't be watching a hearing where I'm trying to do my job. That's not what they pay me to do. So I didn't watch any of it. I kind of watched some recaps. Before I ask my questions, kind of give your thoughts about what the committee is doing in terms of this hearing today.
Oh, well, I'm similar. Now, granted, fortunately, the new job does allow me to kind of do this and watch it. But today I had more meetings than usual, so I didn't get to focus that much. I heard a little bit about. They dropped a couple names about people who were asking for pardons. And I actually, I don't know if you saw my message earlier. I was wondering if this was the last one because it's like they were giving closing arguments and stuff. But apparently there's still another 1 or 2 to go. But I don't know. I didn't absorb that much. And I haven't had a chance to really kind of like you get into watching the recaps just yet. So I have opinions on the overall thing, but not so much today.
I got a whole bunch of questions. First of all, the Republican Party, they're a bunch of douchebags. I hate to use that kind of strong language because I reserve it for the worst of the worst. But if what they're saying in that hearing is true, and I don't have any reason not to believe it, they, along with Trump, came up with a scheme. If I'm wrong, anybody in the comment section or these, you can let me know. They came up with this scheme for fake electors. And they were, nobody said, hey, this is illegal. We can't do this. They just thought, you know what, we'll get away with it. What were they thinking? Or were they even thinking?
Oh, they were thinking. And they were told by multiple people within Trump's own orbit that this was not right. It wasn't going to work. This was illegal. Don't do it this way. And these are like diehard, haven't obstructed Trump yet type people. But this was, they keep using these college words, right? This was a coup. This is an insurrection. And I get it, those are accurate terms, but it's exactly why Democrats struggle so much. Um,
Why
what
can't they just
the
call it a
what
terrorist attack? Just call it a
right
terrorist attack. I understand it.
yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
What happened on January 6th and all of the things that they have proven are tied together with the militias and the alt-right um, gunmen. They that all comes together to a terrorist attack. Like all of that part does, because what is terrorism but using violence to achieve a political end, right? So that to me is clear. But where I think, or I'm concerned, a lot of people are missing is that it was multifaceted, but it had one objective, and that was to overturn the government of the United States of America. That's what it was. This, in its own way, was secession part two. Okay,
Exactly.
they wanted to basically carve up the country, change who runs it, and change the ruling order. And they did that by terrorism, by falsifying votes and electors, by what was some of the other stuff they did? Bribery.
Burner phones. I'm just gonna keep going
I mean,
burner
they
phones.
did everything. It was like on all these different things, but it all goes to one thing, which was a violent overthrow of the United States government. But it's hard, the way America is, it's hard to get that through to a lot of people, because America really has a hard time looking at white people as a threat. They have a really hard time because you're having to look at yourself and accept the dark side is bigger than a few. And that's really tough to do, just being fair.
Yep.
Um, so the country wrestles with that. This would have been so much cleaner, so much easier if Barack Obama was president and the Black Liberation Army came back and tried to take out the social, the Secret Service to become the new watchdog of the presidency, and America would have went right at that one. Or if a bunch of Islamic people tried to storm the Capitol, they would have gone right at it. But these were white, Christian, overwhelmingly like middle age or like 30 plus, um, professionals of various stripes. Like it's hard. It was hard for them, and I don't see why it is, but I know why it is. So
Well, we know why it is. They don't see themselves as oppressors. They can't see themselves because all they see is black people committing crimes, Hispanic people committing crimes. They don't see themselves doing it because the media never shows it or rarely
right,
shows it. I'm not
and,
going to say
and
they don't show it, they rarely show it.
but that's just it. Like to be white in America, and I'm not trying to make this a white black thing. I'm just saying this is what it is. To be white in America is to be normative. You are the standard. So anything that happens abnormal, you will say is an exception. So that's why every time there's a white gunman, he's a lone wolf or he has a mental issue. Somehow that person is defective and not representative of the whole. But when a small group or individual black people or Asian people or Latino people, they become reflective of the group. So we are still being cast as the most violent and be scared of us, even though we're not the ones
Tearing
doing
up the
the
Capitol?
mass.
No.
Yeah, we don't do
Yeah.
mass violence. We do violence, but we don't do mass violence. So,
Yeah, and it's a thing. I think about this all the time, and I know you're a Warren supporter and I'm a Bernie supporter, but I'll still throw out the question anyway.
they're both on the left, whatever.
Yeah, if either one of them said, they ran for president, they lost. If Bernie Sanders said, you know what, I want you all to do, go to the Capitol and tear that place up and ensure me this election. First question out of my mouth is, what's wrong with you?
Yes.
None of those people had the sense to think, what's wrong with him asking me to do. Now, he didn't come right out and say, hey, go to the Capitol and cause violence, but pretty much he said, hey, I'll be there with you. We got to overturn it.
He stoked it all the way.
Yeah.
He stoked it all the way.
Yeah. And nobody said, this is abnormal. This isn't right. He should just accept his loss. They just all said, okay, let's go.
Well, remember, to get to where this all started to come together, he had to weed out the type of people who would push back. So he had already changed out his secretary. What was it? Who's the person?
Attorney General?
Yes, yeah, he switched out his attorney general.
And then the DOJ, he switched out.
So he had corrupted the DOJ by switching out a lot of the leadership within it. He had planted a lot of his judges. He had planted a lot of his lawyers and worked with the society and all of that. He had gotten the Supreme Court. He had the Electoral College, as far as representation in Congress, was already on lock. So he built this up to do what he tried to do. And he tested the waters all the way. So, because like from the beginning, when he first got there, one of the things that I give him a lot of credit for, and I say this tongue in cheek, but a lot of credit for, is he revealed to those who refuse to see it that America does not have safeguards. America has understandings. So he came in and said, I don't understand your understandings. Where are your laws? And since we didn't have any laws, and what laws we did have didn't have any enforcement, a person like him.
But fake electors, there is a law. That's a law. You can't be having fake electors. Just throw a document together. This person is an elector.
It is illegal, and a lot of them, I hope, will actually get prosecuted. But that's slow. So you put in the fake electors, and you've already rigged the states that these are coming out of, so that even though the voters aren't pushing your thing, you have the authority positions to ignore all of them.
But I still think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, so you can create the fake elector thing, and you do it just as a distraction, because no matter how that goes, it would. Let's say Pence got up there, and he kind of played along, and he pushed it back to the states. There would have been holy hell going on behind that, right? But what would have happened, though? It would have had to go through the court system to get rectified. All this time, Trump is still in power, which is all he wanted.
Yeah.
See, if I get the power, it doesn't matter what happens after that.
But I'm still wondering this same question, because you're talking about the people involved. I'm talking about Joe Q. Public. Joe Q. Public didn't have enough sense to say, wait a minute. What this man is saying is crazy. I'm not about to go to the Capitol and do this. This is crazy. Again, this is me being logical. I'm saying if Bernie or Joaquin, or whatever his last name is, if anybody on the left that I admire said something like that, the very first thing out of my mouth is, something's wrong with you. You need to be in prison. I mean, that's the first thing I'm going to say.
That's true. And people on the left are much quicker to do these. I want to call it a purity test. It's not quite that. It's almost like a fake moral thing. So, like, for example, Al Franken. We kicked his butt out of Congress. Right? Because of what he did.
Yeah, and he really didn't do anything, because the lady said he didn't harass me.
But it's not that he didn't do anything. He did do something. He was acting inappropriately. The thing
Right.
is, that would have never risen to the level on the Republican side to put some out.
Nope.
Now, you can't use bad to justify bad, but I'm just saying, in a game with high stakes, you don't send out perfect people. You send out effective people. And the Republicans do that. The Democrats, on the other hand, are so afraid of being viewed like Republicans that they will thin their ranks out the moment somebody does something unethical, immediately, like just to show that they're different. Well,
Um,
that's a problem when you
I'm
get to
going to
these situations.
slightly disagree with you because calling for the overthrow of the government, that's problematic to me.
But you're calling for the overthrow of the government to throw it to your side. You see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's only bad if you view the effort as bad or the result is bad. So from their standpoint, we're talking about, and let me just be real, what it is. It's a white evangelical Christian male patriarchy closed-minded group. So you're talking about a huge segment of the country because I mean, anyway, I don't know the numbers, but let's just, it's like 40% of the country, 30 to 40% of the country. Well, white people are like 50+% of the country. So it's a huge base that is on that side. And what the Republicans have done so well over the last 40 years is intertwine your sense of religion with your sense of patriotism so that you don't really see a difference, to blur what it is to be an American to the point that it's no longer we're a nation of immigrants, because that was never a true feeling. It was just a statement out there. So they were able to blur all these lines so that when you have someone who feeds your grievances, it took time. Trump couldn't have done this in 2001. To get where we are, you needed Reagan with his junk.
Yep.
You needed W with his crap. You needed Obama to make them all feel threatened.
Yep. Pretty
And then
much.
you needed Trump to come in and be like, I'll fix it all.
Yeah, it's like I said, I haven't watched much of it because they've been doing these daytime hearings. I'm like, well, I'm at work. I I kind of wish they would go back to the primetime ones. Because I could watch them. I'm like, I don't. I feel like I've missed so much. Like I said, the Republican Party just. I mean, if I hear anything about morals from them, I'm really like, look here, y'all have fake electors going on. I mean, I was already done with them. I was already done with them, but this just sealed the envelope for me. This
But
just
right and wrong depends on what you want. So if what you want is to save the country from the others, then everything else is just part of that fight.
And I think what's making me so angry is I actually did hear the testimony of the mother and the daughter, the election workers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, I wish they could sue Trump. I wish they
They
could.
could.
Because I was so, I mean, usually I don't go, yeah, that's true, Susan. Um, I was so saddened to hear how the mother, and I wish I knew her name, but I didn't write it
Miss
down.
Ruby,
Yeah.
Lady Ruby.
She had to move out of her own home to stay with someone else because people were protesting outside of her home and threatening her. All she wanted to do was work the polls. Are you serious? That's gonna make like I was a volunteer, well, not a volunteer, but I was a poll worker. I wish somebody would come and talk about they're gonna get me. I'm like, you know what? You know, she did the right thing. I would wish I would do the right thing, but I don't know if I would do the right thing.
Well, here's the thing with that, and I hate to sound this way, but I'm exhausted. And I'm exhausted not with what white folks are doing. As the story of history makes this less personal, and it's very clear what's going to happen. What's up, brother Marlon?
What's up? What's up?
Um, where I'm exhausted is with my community and with fellow sympathetic people on the left, because I heard a lot of outrage and heartache behind what happened with Miss Ruby and her daughter, justifiably. But that was all told to us a year ago,
Exactly.
and no one was reacting that way. And like one of the points you just raised about, it was so horrendous. They were being terrorized to the point
Exactly.
that they had to leave their home. Well, black people, have you ever heard of the Great Migration? That was in the South when Jim Crow was in force, and we had so many people being terrorized across the South. This is why you have large, dense populations of black people in Michigan, Ohio, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and other states, because we were run out
We're
of
run out.
our homes.
Exactly.
We were harassed in our homes. They were burning crosses in our yards. They were firing us from our jobs. They were killing our business owners. They were raping our women. They were raping our children. They were doing these things, and we had to run away. What makes us think we are so special that it's not happening again right now? And that's why I'm so frustrated,
I
because we
think
keep thinking it's not what it is.
that's. I agree with you, but I disagree because again, theoretically, I know what country I live in. That shouldn't happen, even if you're a staunch Republican. You're a Trump supporting person and you want to wear all your logo to the election day. Okay, that's your thing. I'm not sure they did, but no one deserves. I think the outrage was nobody deserves the treatment that they had. They were
I'm not saying
literally
they
for the.
did.
No, I'm not
What I'm
saying that you did either. I'm just saying that the frustration is like we don't. Right,
You
we
didn't
heard
want
it
to
for a
see it.
year.
You're talking about a
Mm.
group of people who planned on throwing democracy. What, August of the year of the election? So that's when the plan started. That's when they started formulating. So you can't believe that they would not go this far. These people went as far as to come up with fake electors to try to go through a side door to only have it be stopped by security guards. And they had stopped them. And these people are still rambling on about, but the Constitution said, no, I fully believe these people are evil enough to do exactly what they did. I truly
But
believe
I
it.
think
Without a
that
shadow of a doubt.
but Marlon, I think what the point is I'm getting to is the Republican Party, especially Trump. I want, and I know they're too scared to do it, but I want them to be held responsible for what those two women had to go through.
But
Because,
They're
they're
not. They
just,
couldn't even get the FBI to move them.
well, I was just
yeah,
gonna say, and this is gonna sound callous, but they're just two women. So there's a lot of people who have been killed, who have been abused, who are sitting in jail for trumped up charges under this administration for daring to say things or get in the way. These two have suffered horribly, but they're just two people.
yeah, and
We
that's the
are
thing that
talking
makes me sick.
about
And they're always going
what.
to look at it that way.
Right.
Of
But what makes me sick is us, because we won't look at the overall situation. We are actually more upset that we're not being allowed to go back into denial. We're not being allowed to go back to sleep. We're being forced to stay awake. We're being like they're holding our eyes open and making us look at what's really going on, and we don't like it. Most people would prefer to go back to sleep. Let's just be real about it.
but I told you a long time ago why that is. This the world is opening back up. Do you think? Do any of y'all really think George Floyd would have been as big as it was if it wasn't for COVID and COVID shut everything down?
No, he would have just been another dead
No,
black
he
man.
would just been another person that just got shot. That dude, the cop wouldn't even have been arrested. I'm telling you right now, that cop would not have been even remotely looked at.
Because they wouldn't have had the evidence they needed.
Yeah.
It's
But that's my point, Marlon.
yeah. This
It's
society.
like how many dotted lines? First of all, stop waiting for America to wake up and save you from America. Like, stop it. That's what? Like, you waiting on the person who's abusing you to what, get tired? Come on now. So gotta focus, stay focused, folks. Stay focused. To be a minority, ethnic minority in this country, your experience on mass, because I know how some of y'all sleepy ass Negro, sorry, Tracy, your show. I know how some of y'all sleepy Negroes get. And you're like, well, I'm doing well. I'm doing, I ain't talking about y'all. Good. You doing well. You stay over there on the porch where you belong. I'm talking about the masses in the field. And it's rough out there.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I hate to do it, but we got to get to my topic that I want to talk to. I'm going to skip the question about Cheney. And I'm going to talk about this guy, and I hope I pronounce his name right. I even wrote it down. Eric Greitan. Oh boy, Greitan. Greitans. This lovely piece of garbage is running for senator in Missouri.
oh, the ex-governor guy.
Yes, and he has decided to go rhino hunting and has posted a picture of himself with a gun.
Which is why he'll win.
Exactly. Two things. I believe, if I'm not incorrect, he was one of the people at the march. And second, not that I live in a state that's known for having great liberal objections or liberal thoughts or liberal causes. Why would you vote for this person? How does he come up with the criteria to say, okay, this person is a Republican in name only? Like what, he sat down and thought, okay, this is a Republican, this is a Republican, this is a Republican.
Nope. I'm going to push back on one thing that Thea said. I don't think he's going to win. That could be looked at as a good thing
or a bad thing.
The good thing is these idiots right now are not doing too freaking well. I don't care how many of these videos coming out. I'm looking at the polls and everything else just to see if I ain't going nuts, because I literally need to make sure. They're not doing too well. This is just one of those ploys, and these people got the Trump memo too freaking late. Here comes the bad part, though. My fear is, and we've all talked about it, all the America needed was a smarter Trump. And I think some of these Republicans now, with the crazies, is leaving out, but these little smarter Republicans are taking their place. So I'm not even saying they taking their place like with different ideologies and different ways. And no, it's the same freaking ideology. These idiots is just saying it out loud, and it ain't. No, you too crazy for us, dude. You go in the corner. Oh, but you smart enough to keep your mouth shut, but you're still gonna do our agenda.
Right.
And that's what's scaring me is they're wising up.
That doesn't scare me. What scares me, once again, is us. But I agree with you, Marlon. But when I was saying that this is why he'll win is because of the track record. But like you said, they're running late. Like Trump's influence, direct influence is waning.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, though, is Florida, DeSantis. He was the one with the I'm going to round up the illegals. No, he was build the wall. He was build the wall with his baby.
Mexico's going to pay for it, but they never did.
Governor Kemp here in Georgia. He was, I'm going to round up the illegals in my pickup truck. So now you got this guy talking about going rhino hunting. Republicans across the country, Christmas cards with AR-15s, and now they're taking their guns to church and talking from the pulpit with their guns. And so this is bigger than the spectacle, right? We are dealing with an ideology, which is one reason I would love for people to not focus so much on the party, Republican, Democrat. The ideology behind it is conservative and not conservative.
But this,
So
have you ever seen a Democrat or a liberal take a gun and say, I'm going to get everybody that's Democrat in name only? I haven't
no,
seen it.
no, because the messaging has to be different. So the Republicans right now are the ones who are most aggressive because they have something they're fighting for. They're fighting for their ideology and their identity. So that's why you see it so viciously right now. I reject the both sides thing, but you have to look at why they keep saying both sides. Because on the left, we have the tendencies. We just don't have the opportunity. Because what's growing on the left is the I don't I don't personally see this as a bad thing, but other people do. The socialist movement, the grassroots movement, the social accountability, and all that stuff. That stuff is growing, and that stuff is allowed to be. It is just as violent as what can be on the right. It just hasn't had its turn yet. So right now we're dealing with the let's go to fascism, which is the conservative thing. Let the conservatives really gain ground and really push us back into an apartheid state. Guarantee you the left, because it has to, will become more aggressive and it will take on its own version to fight back. So that's just how human behavior is.
You
So
mean
we have the tendencies.
pacifism? I never can pronounce it right, but pacifist. No, pacifists believe no violence.
Yeah, pacifists won't fight nobody. They'll just sit there and just die. But the but what I'm saying is right now you have fascists who want to have a dictator, right? But on the left, they don't really want a dictator. And right now they're not even that extreme yet. But on the course it's following, they end up on the Russia end of the spectrum, where you end up with your own dictator, but it comes at the end of a communist movement. So neither of these people, neither side is holy here, right?
Nobody's there. I don't think I said that.
But it's just right now, the ones who have the most urgency, who have the most fear, are those who believe that this was a white nation developed for white people, and they don't mind having other races here so long as they stay in number one, and they don't feel that they're getting that credit anymore.
I still want to know how he determines who's a Republican in name only, because I'm like,
He doesn't have to.
I guess not. He just goes out there and says, "I'm going to hold this gun," and
that's like,
well, no,
like
not gun. This was
Wait a minute, Tracy. Hold on. Let me ask you this question: who did he name?
He didn't name anybody. I don't think.
Exactly. He don't. This goes right back to the original statement. It ain't got to be true. It just has to be said. And that's all he did. We're gonna go rhino hunting. Well, who do you think is a rhino?
You get to fill in the blank.
You know who they are.
Yeah.
You know who they are. They know who they are. All of America know who they are. And we're sick and tired of them. And that's why he ain't gonna name a name. He just has to say the statement.
Just like on the left, they say the wealthy, the 1%. We don't name names. It's just them.
No, it's them.
So if you want to be effective, and because you can either educate the people to build a movement, which never works, or
easiest way to hide information, put it in a book.
Or you can stir up the people emotionally, which always works. And if I could just give you a thing to be afraid of, you will decide who goes in that label.
Yep. Okay, so I got to get to my next topic before I wish Herschel Walker. And Susan, if you could explain that last comment of just I'd appreciate it. I want to talk about, and I'm going to get this man's name wrong again, But my question is, after these hearings, there's 2 Republicans in the hearings. There's Kissinger
Close enough.
and Cheney. Now, the guy is not running. He knows he's pretty much going to lose, and Cheney's on the course to lose her congressional seat coming up in the election.
Right.
Where do they go from here, or is there a place for them to go? Is there a movement that they can build of, and I don't want to use this word because I don't believe there are, sensible Republicans?
Well, there are sensible Republicans by comparison. So what Cheney does is she goes back home, she loses her seat, so she becomes a martyr, and then she comes back and runs for president. What Kinzinger does is he's retired, so he's just going to go become a lobbyist or go back into private practice, and he'll get a lot of money because he is who he is now. So they have somewhere to go. The Republican Party that's like vicious and weird right now, that has to be defeated. But unfortunately, we got all these coochie coo leftists and Democrats who just don't want to fight. So they're going to keep trying to find middle ground. They're going to keep trying to work things out. But when you're against someone who truly believes you're evil, you can't reason with them.
Yeah, and that I think that's what I put in comments when I was talking to you guys. I'm like, if anybody puts anything about working across the aisles, I'm gonna throw up. If I hear the word bipartisanship one more time, I'm done.
You're gonna hear it a lot.
I can't. How do you sit here and legitimately think in your mind you're gonna vote? You're gonna work with a party that voted against voter rights, that voted against the child tax credit, that voted against the George Floyd? How? How does this work?
Voted against the John Lewis bill. Voted against.
I was just stopping.
Issues. You know, voted for gun expansion.
Rapid insulin.
Right.
It's ending.
I could have just kept going, but I think people were seeing my point. I'm like, you can't. There's certain people, and I've come to realize this. You just can't work with them. It's like you can't, there's no middle ground. It's like, okay, you stay over there, and while we have the majority, we're going to do this, and this, and you just sit back.
We don't have the majority. They will work with Democrats. All they want is a bill that's
military spending.
That's for them. Yeah, military spending. That's for them. That's for their constituents. And they'll vote for it. But all they're doing right now is, and I've been hanging around Thea's too long because I'm getting frustrated. All they doing right now is what they told you they was gonna do. They were gonna block everything that the Democrats do, and then turn around and go on the same Fox, Newsmax, Newsweekly, WeEvil.com, whatever TV show, and say the same stuff. They say we got gas prices and inflation, and what's the Democrats doing? Knowing their constituent ain't gonna look up the fact that they voted down every daggone bill that was put up.
And that's what frustrates me about the other side. I'm like, fight. I don't care if you lose. I don't care if you.
They're not going to fight because their backs are not up against the wall.
I agree with. That I will agree with.
And they still think they have a chance. Now, when this next election comes, and they're down and out, then they'll start fighting. And of course, we'll look at you like, yeah, we kind of needed you 6 months ago.
Yeah, we need you back then, not right now. Not now.
But at the same time, folks. All right, so piggybacking off of what Marlon has just said, it's more profitable to a cynical politician to be in the opposition. So the Democrats are not afraid of being in the opposition. In fact, it'll help entrench them for another 5 to 10 years in their current positions personally. The problem, though, is we say, well, why don't they fight better? My question is, what's their incentive to do so? Because if they start fighting more, whoever is the loudest, they will lose their reelection. So they're gone. Their base doesn't really support them anyway. So you can't count on Democrats to stay consistent for more than 90 seconds. So you don't know, because the left is going to be like, well, yeah, I heard 3 people make noise, but what about the other 250? So then I'm not going to vote. And so it's we doom ourselves. So
see, yeah, I'm gonna disagree with this, but that's okay.
I can back mine up.
Let me throw another thing out there too, Diaz. Man, I have been hanging around you too long. Then the goalposts keep getting pushed.
Now that I agree with.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I only heard 3 people out of the 200 and semi people. Such and such and such and such said something too. Yeah, but that was only one time. Oh, okay. No, they said it several times. Yeah, but they didn't bring up such and such name. It's like, whatever. You just gonna keep. You want the Democrats to go on the highest mountaintop they possibly can, dragging the evil Republicans by the back of their head, hitting their head on every rock going up there, hold their head up like they're holding up the 10 Commandments and going, now we're serious.
But they have to do it nicely, though, Marlon. Because
yeah, that was gotta be nice. I'm like, come on.
They can't go up there. If they curse, they out. If they say that they're Muslim instead of Christian, they out. If they are found to have sexually harassed, not molested, but harassed some woman 30 years ago, they're out. If they had an anti-gay statement or anti-black statement at some point ever in their lives, they're out. So you can't even make it up the hill.
But then that's the problem. That's the problem. And this will be the last thing because I got to move to my last subject. Because I always hear, well, we should just primary people. Okay, so we primary the candidate. We do everything we can to support the candidate primary. Let's just throw out a name, Jim Clyburn. They still lose. I'm like, okay.
Because we've never been serious about it, Tracy. Like Jim Clyburn, who was his opposition? Some guy named Marcel. The lady who was robbed of her position up there in Buffalo. Who was our opposition? An entrenched Democrat conservative. So we're not serious about what we want. Okay, let's just be real. Because
I'm serious.
No, you're not. And the reason why I'm saying it is, well, you as an individual maybe, but what you represent is not. What I represent is not. Because we can't sustain anything for more than a year. And if to do the things that we say we want done, that's multiple years. That's building a Marcel off in the cut so that 5 years from now, he comes out like a monster and like cleans house.
Yeah. Susan, that is my sister.
So I apologize, Tracy. My original response was I said, no, you're not. That's not accurate. But I'm saying what we represent.
Oh, no, I got you. I got you. Okay, we got to move to our last subject because I got a long behind it rant on this one. I want to wish Herschel Walker a happy Father's Day. I know Happy Father's Day was Sunday, but I cannot forget about a man that criticized specifically black fathers for not being a part of their child's lives, for being deadbeat dads, for not paying child support. But oh, wait a minute, Herschel has children outside of his marriage who he hasn't been involved with and just recently started paying child support. I don't know. Maybe the world wants to join me in wishing Herschel Walker a happy Father's Day and discuss.
And who was going to push back on that?
Well, I don't live in Georgia, so I don't know.
The same people. The same people who
Herschel don't live in Georgia.
You say Herschel doesn't live in Georgia.
It's
The way he went after black fathers was so disgusting. I'm like, dude, you can't be serious. He was.
He's a pick-me Negro.
But here's my day. Why are we so upset about what Herschel Walker said? And I'm being real.
Because it makes me mad when people disparage the black community, specifically black men.
He can't even spell his name right now, Tracy. Do you actually think we care? Black men couldn't care.
Maybe you don't, but I do.
Walker said.
No, but did you see the clip though? Did you see the clip of him going up?
Nope.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you look at pick-me Negroes. You know, the porch Negro, right? He ain't in the house, but he wants to go in the house. Every once in a while, he gets allowed to go in the house, but he's scared to come out here in the field, right? That's your Herschel Walker. Herschel used to be in the field. Somebody plucked him up and said he was better than all the rest of them out there because he was the biggest, strongest buck on the field. And they brought him and they let him on the porch, but they said, don't you come up in this house because you ain't quite what we want, but you better than them out there. You can't look at them and say, well, what they say matters. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It really because the path to freedom will be cut through people like him.
Unfortunately. I guess that gets to my point about when I hear black conservatives make the most outrageous comments against black people. I'm like, did you look in the mirror? Did you see that you're black? Or did you just forget it? Just okay.
They're not talking about it.
No, I know they're talking to their white audience that buys into that. But I still can't be angry about it.
They're not yours. I get it. Be angry. I'm with you. But understand that they're not yours. That's like somebody else's pet barking at you. They're not yours. They belong to them people over there.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. My sister got a comment, and I ain't following none of it. Zirconium polyester, for example. Explain?
Oh, we're talking about diamond and silk.
Okay. I was
like, and you got, we can run down the list. You got diamond and silk. You had that gumball pastor, look like that old porno guy. You know what I'm talking about? He always got. Anyway, I can show you a picture of him. But you have Sheriff.
That's again, Susan. What I'm saying, they're more statistically involved in the lives of their children, and they're with their mother.
We're also less violent.
Yeah, less violent.
We
pay our bills on time. We're more religious. We go to church.
But none of that matters because you're listening to your enemy's interpretation of you. They're never count on your enemy to tell you to score.
True.
Do you know a while back when I sat here and said, as much as I love our white comrades, the one who will stand up for us and everything, but I did have a list of certain things, and one of them was to say two things. One, please do not ever say you understand what we're going through.
Yeah, you don't.
You can feel for what we're going through, but please do not say you understand what we're going through.
Yeah, you don't.
And number two, please do not try to black-splain us. Because you heard black this, and you heard black that, and you heard blah, blah. So in other words, that's all Herschel is doing, is speaking as if he was a white man. He got the same logic. He got the same stats. He got the same facts. None of them is true. But who cares?
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't graduate the valedictorian of Georgia, which he didn't even finish.
But the thing is, people like that, and I think we have to kind of dial it back just a touch so we can look at our Herschel and what he represents. Because Herschel, every series will have one. If you look at what the Republicans and the conservatives do, every cycle they have one. They had Herman Cain, they had Ben Carson, they had who was the guy before them? I don't remember his name, but they always got one. Sheriff Duncan Clark or whatever the hell his name is. You got Vernon Jones out here doing it. So
yeah, but Vernon Jones lost.
It doesn't matter. He's still out here doing
I know he's still out here, but I'm just saying. Let me have my want a petty party. Petty party.
No, but
I want a petty party sometime.
I feel you. The point that I'm making is that whenever you have a starved population, you will always have someone out of that population that's for sale. They will give anything they want. Some people would rather be a well-kept pet than hungry and free. And so long as you have that, you will have the Herschel Walkers and the like who will pop up, and they will speak like they're Negro whisperers. They will tell Boss Man what Boss Man want to hear. They will be Hop and Bob. Because even though I'm still not in a good place, I'm in a much better place than the rest of them.
Yeah, because I'm inside the house. You outside picking on
my job is to make sure you don't replace me over here.
Now, Susan, you didn't use the word. I don't know what that means. Subalterns. I'm gonna assume it's not good.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's not good. But no, I'm not. Use no $5 words. I'm like, huh? What?
Maybe she's saying substitute.
No, it's just the right word.
Subaltern. It's the right. Yeah, I just don't know.
The British Army below the rank of a captain. So it's like the one who wants to be the boss.
Thank you, because I was like, and do what? Now she said private. I've been like, now I got it. Okay. But the fact that and Thieves, you live in Georgia, so you can speak to this. What is it in Georgia? Oh, what Thieves was describing. Thanks, Susan. So you have his opponent running.
Yes.
Who I haven't heard anything from. Like
Warnock is all over the place.
And it could be because I live in Indiana and I'm just not paying attention. Is he running local commercials? Is he out speaking? What is it that he's doing? Because I don't see it because I don't live in Georgia.
Fair question. And so here's my issue. Raphael Warnock, by all intents and purposes, from the people I know who know him personally, and then just what I've observed of him, he's just a regular politician. He is your I would actually call him a corporate Democrat. So he's just more of the same. He's not good, he's not bad, he's just whatever. The reason why you don't hear a lot about him is because he is playing the humble pie Negro game. He is trying to make sure that he is not threatening, he's not scary or anything like that to white people, because he is still obsessed, just like most centrist Democrats, with getting the crossover vote. So his whole mission is to not do anything bad. That's his whole thing. He's the Barack Obama without the speech, even though he's well spoken. But he's not like Obama, who's always...
Yeah, he's not going to be like, even though I don't like him, I'm going to listen to everything you say. I'm going to just sit here and just be like, okay, what did he say? He said this, he said this.
He's just as well spoken. He's just as intelligent.
I'm sorry.
He's
I
all
laugh.
the things.
I'm looking at this comment.
He's all the things Obama is minus the swagger. I'll put it that way. But Herschel, remember why Herschel even exists. Huh?
I said that's actually kind of true.
You missed this comment.
It would be my honor to be seen in the light of that great man.
I'll be king then.
You are not nonviolent, Marlon. Stop.
Hey, Martin had guns too. But
all I gotta do is be better than Theus.
Hey, better is a matter of interpretation.
All I gotta do is be less violent than Theus, and I got the gig.
But you cannot find any history of Malcolm X being violent.
Nope.
Even though he's tagged with it, because your enemy is telling you to score. But anyway, back to the thing about why you don't hear much about Warnock. That was the reason why you don't really hear from him, because he's boring. Herschel, though, remember, he is a guy who lived in Texas.
Yeah, that's why I was like, how you get to run in Georgia? He lived in Texas.
The Republicans know what the climate is right now. You don't want to look like you're racist.
Yep.
So they only have two choices. They could either find a white woman to run against Warnock, which is what they should have done. But their base doesn't like women in power, so it's hard to do that in Georgia.
Yeah, can't do that.
Right. So couldn't. So they weren't sure they could go with a white woman, which would have been the perfect check to a Warnock. But they did go say, well, what black man will do my bidding and come fight this guy for me? Herschel raises his hand. Herschel comes back to Georgia, and now you have a black man to fight a black man. And that's all it is.
Yep. And I'm just like, why is he so close? I'm like, I know I lived in Georgia for 2 years. I'm like,
close
y'all
enough, and Herschel's whooping butt out here.
That's what I'm like, huh?
And
what?
The Republicans are way better funded because Democrats are lazy and they think that they can win on. They're just lazy because they don't care about us. They don't market to us. They don't hire us to do their campaigns. They wait to the last minute and then try to get the black.
The get out the vote campaign. Y'all could have started this way back in January. Hello.
Meanwhile, the Republicans are flooding every medium. Like my baby, my youngest, my 8-year-old. And I was talking to them today about you guys got to pay attention to politics. You got to pay attention to the news. You can't not know what's happening in your world. And my baby is like, well, Warnock, from what I heard, is why inflation is so high. Now, this is my 8-year-old. She doesn't know what inflation is. And she definitely doesn't know Warnock. But she does know that has been reinforced over and over. How does she do that if she's not watching the news with me? She's on her tablet. And on YouTube, every time you turn around, there's a Republican ad telling you how bad Warnock is.
Yeah, I'm going to answer Susan's question. No, he does not have a chance of beating Marjorie. No, he has no chance. He has no chance. Y'all better put y'all money where y'all mouth is. He has no chance.
He has a rebound chance.
No chance.
He can be the one who beats Marjorie just to get her out of office. And then 2 years from now, he's out of office.
Yep.
Put your money where your mouth is, because I guarantee he's not going to beat her. No way. No.
I don't bet my friends, because otherwise I would, because you don't have the best winning record on a piece.
I have a good winning record, except for that Trump thing. I was wrong about that one thing.
Her own district don't like her.
I think she wins.
Her own district despise her. I mean, these people have gone on TikTok, YouTube, the newspaper, they go on any and everything saying she is the most embarrassing thing we have ever done.
Okay, Susan, you got it.
But on top of that,
I'll donate whatever I put. I'll say it now. If I am wrong, which I want to be wrong. If there's not a congressperson that I dislike more than my 2 idiots from Indiana, it's her. Like, she's third in my dislike list. I will donate $25 to the charity of Theus's Choice.
Trying to make my camera refocus.
Yeah, so if I lose, which I won't, I'll donate $25 to the charity of Theus's Choice, which I will not lose.
What about me?
I said things because he's the one that first said he got a chance. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
But he has a chance. If you're looking at it,
he just ain't gonna stay in.
And also they spread out. Remember, they expanded her district or rewrote her district, so it now reaches into Metro Atlanta. It used to just be in the hills of Georgia.
She's going to win. I'm not saying she's going to win by a huge margin, but she's going to win. I don't want her to win. I do not want her to win. But yeah, I'll take that.
Republicans put up with Marjorie because she's a good fundraiser.
Yes.
And they're gonna find another good fundraiser because they're gonna find a fundraiser. They're gonna find somebody who's a good fundraiser and also knows how to toe the line. Marjorie ain't towing any Republican line now. She stopped being a Republican.
The day she got in?
She never was. She was always a QAnon candidate.
Yeah, she's a QAnon person.
So she that's why Marjorie is on the whole make my own website so I can do my whole video and everything. She sees the writing on the wall. She ain't getting no more money from the Republicans, but she's gonna have to still make that money. So hey, I'm still gonna act stupid And now YouTube, you can't kick me off. And now Twitter, you can't kick me off. And
Who is the
She's on-
buttercream dream?
Who's the butter? Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Who's the buttercream dream?
Buttercream dream in his corner.
Oh, I'm not familiar with who that is.
I don't either. Okay, so
But I
this
do know a black man with no
Oh,
facial
nigga, I
hair
like
wearing a
that
cowboy
name
hat just
either.
don't work for me.
Buttercream dream.
and he wears a cowboy hat. But hey, that's just my stereotype. But I'm still saying $25 to the Choice of Theist's charity, and I ain't gonna be giving it up. I'm gonna be like, I told y'all. But we're gonna end this show. We're running just a tad bit behind. Our discussion tonight in the after party is a good singer, but a terrible actor. A good singer, but a terrible actor. So if you're a Patreon, you should have the link in your emails. We'll see you all next
Hey,
week.
before Tracy, before you go, I
And
have to
we-
correct myself. He does have facial hair.
Oh, well, and Theus wanted to correct that, although I never looked at his face. But
I don't went on to see where the link is. I'm not listening to y'all no more.
so we invite everybody to please remember to like this video, share this video. We'll see you all next week. And like I said, if you're a Patreon,
that's the other dude's name. Then.
yeah, okay. And that's the last comment for this video because we got to get to the after party. We'll see you all in just a bit. And remember to like, share, and comment on this video. And have a great day.